Hello and welcome back to my channel. I have a unique video for you today on how to travel with your Pandora charms. And I travel quite frequently, and I have some tips that I can give you on how to travel with your Pandora charms. And I have 5 tips I'm going to share with you today. So the very first tip that I have is to pare down the amount of charm bracelets you take with you. So if you have a large collection of charm bracelets that you want to take with you, I have some suggestions on how to pare down to a few bracelets rather than taking your whole collection, because traveling with charms is a little bit scary sometimes because you want to have an entire collection to choose from in case you feel like a mood, or maybe you get a new charm. But you also don't want to have all of your charms and run the risk of those charms disappearing, or you have more risk of that when you're traveling, losing a bracelet, things like that. I'm going to give you some tips that will help with that. So I'm going to show you how I pared down my collection. I'm actually currently traveling. I'm in a hotel room in Utah. As you can kind of see, here's the bed and my junk's everywhere, but I'm on a vacation for a women's event here in Utah. I always do one thing for sure, is wear my travel bracelet. So if you have a travel bracelet or you have travel charms on a specific bracelet, I always use my travel bracelet. And I always wear it on the plane, and that's the one I take with me while I'm traveling. And you may have seen some of my Instagram posts from traveling if you follow me on Instagram, which is the same as my YouTube name, Pandora_Angeman SB. And I wear this to travel with, because if I get a travel charm, and sometimes there's Pandoras in airports, there wasn't any of that I went on today, but there sometimes is, and sometimes you can grab a charm and put it on your travel bracelet. I actually got this Detroit charm in a Pandora store in Detroit. Let me see if I can get you a good look at that one. I've shown this before on my travel bracelet. But this is a great bracelet to take with you. So I always take my travel bracelet. And then I like to take a more neutral bracelet that will go with a lot of things. I chose my rose gold this time because I feel like this is just such an easy bracelet to wear. And if I'm going out to dinner, doing something special on my vacation, I like to have a really elegant looking charm bracelet. So I do a dressier, nice neutral charm bracelet. Then I brought my daughter's bracelet because they're pretty sentimental to me, and they're not with me on this trip, so it's nice to have a sentimental bracelet with me so that I can remember my kids and maybe have that little memory with me. And then I also take my happiness bracelet with me because this matches an outfit, and actually a couple outfits, because I have a lot of pastel clothes. So I brought this bracelet with me to travel with. So that's how I pared down and why I paired those particular bracelets. Now, that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is how to store and pack your Pandora charms. So I have this awesome storage container that I use that has these nice wide pockets that are plastic, and then they have zippers on them that zip up. Now you can undo your charms, but I have safety chains on all of these because I like mostly to travel with safety chains on my charm bracelets. This one obviously can't, I wouldn't undo for that. And then I put them in individual zippers. I don't ever store them together, and the main reason for that is because I don't want my charms to clank together and bang and knock and ding each other and have, more of that jewelry, where you get that wear and tear on the charms and they start to look kind of dinged up. You don't want that to happen while you're traveling, because let's face it, even if we've got it in our carry-on, sometimes this stuff gets jostled around. So we want to make sure our jewelry is nice and safe and secure. And these just zip up. And I'm trying to do this one-handed, so bear with me. But they just zip up into these. I went ahead and zipped those up off camera because it can get kind of annoying, but they just roll up once they're all zipped up, And then this is actually a Pandora one that I got as a gift with purchase. My husband actually bought me some charms and then got this as a gift with purchase, and I actually have 2 of them. But this is a great way to store your jewelry. I stick this in my backpack that I take with me as my carry-on, and then I also have my purse as my personal item, and then I check my luggage bag. Which leads me to tip number 3. Oh, and before I go on to tip number 3, you can do the same exact thing if you have a square, one of the square gift with purchase travel boxes, by putting your charm bracelets into Ziploc bags. And if you put them into Ziploc bags, they won't ding and nick each other as much. And I might even put like a little bit of padding between each Ziploc bag just to give them an extra little cushion so they're not knocking into each other as easily, because this plastic is fairly thick, so they're not going to run that risk. And because of how it kind of compacts up, it's really easy to have them not really knock into each other. So that's my tip number 2. Now, tip number 3 is to only store your Pandora jewelry in your carry-on. I don't store it any other way. I only store it in my carry-on. I would never put it in my check bag, never, ever, ever, because you just don't know what's going to happen to your check bag. People have lost check bags. It's not a lot. It's not something, don't get paranoid, but it does happen. And I've had my luggage misplaced, sent ahead. Sometimes I don't know where it is. Sometimes it takes a day for it to come back for me. And I just never want my jewelry, these precious, precious charms, to ever be like hanging out in some airplane hangar missing for life. I don't want to lose them. It's a scary thought to me. So always store your Pandora in a carry-on. That's my tip number 3. Tip number 4 is what to do when you're away for the day. So we don't stay in our hotel rooms all day. That's not the point of a trip, right? We go off and we go places and we have fun, but we may not want to wear all the Pandora bracelets that we brought. They may not all match. I wouldn't probably wear my happiness bracelet with my rose gold. So I would want to do something where I knew these charms were safe and secure, because I don't want any hotel staff to get any bright ideas. Not saying that they would, but you never know. You don't know the people that are coming in to clean your room. So what do you do for that? I have just the thing to show you. So in every hotel room, there is this awesome thing anymore. I don't know if every hotel room, but most have this safe. And I always open up the safe, put my Pandora jewelry I'm not wearing in any jewelry, to be honest, and then I follow the instructions on this guide to lock up my charms for the day. It's very easy to use. I use it all the time. You can even store extra money or credit cards or things you just don't even want. And it's just in general a great idea. The hotel staff cannot get into it because you set a unique pin that only you know. I'm trying to get this to focus, but it's not focusing very well. But it sets a unique pin that only you know, and then you can unlock it. Now, I would make sure that you use a pin that you're familiar with. I like to use the pin that I lock my phone with so that I don't forget it. But if you use like eye or, retinal scanning, you might want to come up with a pin like for your ATM or something that's familiar to you so you don't get your jewelry stuck in the safe. So that's my next tip for you. So my final tip is around what you do when you come back. So a lot of times when we come back from the day, our bracelet is hanging out in our, we take it off. Why is this not focusing? So we take off our bracelet and we get, I'm lazy, I'm tired, I've had a long day, and we just go and set it on this countertop here. Now, the reason I suggest you do not do this, and I have an alternative suggestion for you, is because look at how easy it is for this to just go down here. And that could then now go under the bed, it could go behind the table. There's a lot of things that can happen when you just throw your bracelet on the countertop. And believe me, I've had more than one occasion where I have thought I've misplaced my bracelet, but it was between this What was over here, because I threw something down next to the bracelet and I wasn't paying attention. So my suggestion when you're traveling with charms would be to put it back into your storage. Now, being as I don't have enough open space, because this middle one here is full of my other jewelry, which I don't care if it gets things. So being as I'm not traveling today with this charm, and I'll probably always have at least one bracelet on, I will store it back in here and then set this somewhere I can find it. You know, usually up by the TV stand up here. I'll probably set my charms there, and I'll leave it open like this so that I know that they're there and I can see everything clearly, and then I just make sure that my charm bracelet goes back in here and I don't just set it on the countertop, because it can be dangerous, and there's a lot of different counter spaces all around the room that you can accidentally set your jewelry that can fall into little crevices, nooks and crannies, and you just don't want to have that worry or concern about where is my bracelet, especially when you're getting ready to go do something fun in the morning. You don't want to be scrambling around for your bracelet. So those are my 5 tips for traveling with Pandora charms. I hope you found this helpful. I've made some mistakes and I want to help you guys not make those mistakes, as well as give you some tips and pointers that maybe you haven't thought of before. And I haven't seen anybody else do a traveling with Pandora charms video, so I thought this was a perfect opportunity while I was out in Utah. So thanks for watching, you guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.